Hello, welcome. I have a really cool announcement for you, but I'm just going to quickly bring someone on. I'm very excited for you to meet her. Just give me a moment. Hi, Nikita. I'm going to wave to whoever is joining. Hi, Zoya. Okay, awesome. The cool person that I'm talking about is here, so I'm going to quickly send her. Thank you, Zoya. Hi, Nikita. Hello.
Hi, babe.
How are you, babe?
Good, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm good too. So, I haven't revealed yet to our audience as to what we're up to.
Yeah.
I want both of us to be here. But like before we get into what we're doing, can you tell our peeps who you are?
Sure. For those of you who've seen me before and who've not seen me before, I am Prachi. I am a clinical psychologist, a psychotherapist, and a trauma specialist, and also a relationship coach. So you can take your pick in making your guesses what we are going to be talking about today. There's so much to guess from.
Absolutely. And I'm a Krupa. For those of you who don't know me, my pronouns are she and her, and I'm a sex educator and mental health first aider. And also, like, I've met Prachi once before, and we've spoken once on call. And the aim is to essentially become best friends by the end of. Right.
Totally.
Yeah. So
We are like halfway there.
I know, right? So we have something very exciting for you. It's called the late night intimacy hour. What we're going to do is we're going to take up all these taboo topics that so many of you are curious about. You write to Prachi, you write to me in our DMs. And we thought, hey, why not like erase the shame and stigma around it, or at least attempt to do so, and have open conversations on these topics. So sorry, Zoya, we'll try and speak in Hindi every now and then, but it's going to be largely in English for the time being. But we're going to try and like speak in Hindi a bit. So yeah, Prachi, why are we doing this according to you? What are we up to?
We are going to be so intimacy, while everybody wants it, is something that one, nobody coaches us on. Nobody talks about it. You're just supposed to somehow figure it out all by yourself as you keep getting into relationships. So and intimacy just becomes so much better if you have education, if you have an informed ground to stand on, and from there if you build up. So that's why we're doing this. We thought, why not get together? And so I do a lot of intimacy coaching with couples, and we were just talking, and we thought, why not pick up things that people are doing and trying, but nobody's talking about it. And the people who want to try those things, they don't know where to go for education, they don't know where to go for information, and we
Correct.
might try and debunk a lot of that for you.
Yeah. And also, like, it was very important for us that we contextualize everything. Both of us are Indians, and we wanted to bring that flavor in, because a lot of these conversations are, I mean, of course, like there are some wonderful professionals in India doing it as well. But I mean, stuff like polyamory, stuff like, sex with multiple folks and fetishes and kinks and that sort of thing,
Yes.
is not necessarily something that's being spoken about enough from our context, and that's really what we're trying to do. So great. Today, actually, the topic that we've picked is ethical non-monogamy. I think most people would sort of know what polyamory is, or they would have heard the word polyamory or polygamy before.
Yeah.
So we thought that we'll start off with a highly controversial topic, which is ethical non-monogamy. And typically, Prachi, what I've seen is people confuse it with cheating, and they feel like, oh, it's basically just like sleeping with multiple people, right? Like that's what ethical
Right.
non-monogamy is.
Yeah.
But like they're fully missing the ethical bit in the word, in the phrase.
Exactly. That's the operative word.
Right? And I mean, ethical non-monogamy, within ethical non-monogamy, all parties involved are consenting, and they are involved with multiple people, whether in a romantic or a sexual context, or it could even be like asexual and aromantic, but they're basically involved with more than one person. Whereas like in monogamy, you're essentially, you know, involved with one person, right? Sexually, romantically, whatever your relationship looks like. So I mean, I threw a bunch of terms right now, Prachi, and there are even more terms, it looks like. So, can you tell us a little bit about what are the different ways in which a person can practice ethical non-monogamy?
So, first, talking about ethical non-monogamy, like both of us were saying, that ethical is the operative word here. And the moment we bring up non-monogamy, it is such a taboo topic because people assume that we are meant to be monogamous. And there is a lot of moral burden attached to it also. You know, fidelity is largely measured on sexual basis. We don't have other benchmarks for fidelity, you know, if it's unless on a sexual basis. So ethical non-monogamy is something that doesn't go down well with a lot of people, and people wonder how would or why would someone want to be with multiple partners, and if this is happening, then there has to be something wrong in the relationship.
Yeah. Right? They're not happy with their partner, and therefore they want the other people.
Exactly. So I want to clarify that first and say that when we are talking about ethical non-monogamy, it does exist. At the same time, there are a lot of relationships which pose as ethical non-monogamy. Let's start calling it E&M. Yeah. So there are a lot of relationships which pose as E&M, but they are not E&M, and we will also talk about what is the differentiator there. But one of the reasons that a lot of relationships who want to be E&M are not is also because they don't even know what E&M is supposed to be or how it is supposed to be practiced. So what are the different ways, you asked me, that people can get into an E&M is, I think before we touch that, I think let's touch a bit about what forms the foundation for E&M.
Tell me.
The foundation for E&M, contrary to popular belief, has to come from true total intimacy. E&M is not a way to fix a relationship. A lot of times people think that, okay, you know what, we don't have the spark anymore, so let's go open. And you know, let's get into something that we are calling E&M, and it's going to bring the spark back into our relationship or our marriage. Doesn't work like that. If you want to get into an E&M, you have to start from a very, very solid, intimate foundation. You have to play as a team in this before you get into this, because it's not supposed to be a band-aid for your relationship. It is supposed to bring you closer. It is supposed to make you happier. So the foundation is intimacy. It's not a divide. It's not like, you know, like I was telling you, right, the other days, a lot of times people think, oh, it's just a hall pass to sleep around. Like, I have that, and then, you know, I can just go and sleep with whoever I want. It translates to that, but in a very different way. It's not something something that drives you away from your partner. It is supposed to bring you closer. And it's totally based on informed consent and integrity.
Correct.
Informed consent.
I just wonder, Prachi, but like, is it okay if like a couple wants to sort of just add some spice in their relationship, right? And maybe they're bored. Maybe monotony does set in after a point of time. When you've been with a person for years, and I mean, it doesn't have to be years. Maybe your monotony has set in 1 month, right? And that's valid. So is it so wrong at that point to sort of want to open up the relationship and explore what else is out there?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not wrong, as long as you're on the same page. Like, that's why I said informed consent. Both partners have to be above board. Absolutely okay to bring. That's exactly what I was saying, that if you've lost the spark, you can open, but then you have to open from a place of intimacy and not from a thing that, okay, you know what, let me just try this. And it's okay, like if I get a partner, she doesn't, or whatever, my partner doesn't get one, or all of that. Everything has to be communicated. Sometimes a lot of people try to set ground rules when they get into an E&M, which are extremely important. You start off with a lot of communication. This requires deeper communication than any other relationship. And we've already started getting questions. Nice.
Yeah, very interesting questions at that. So distracted. Yeah.
So yeah, no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it as long as you're able to do it in an ethical way. Again, ethical being the operative word.
Right. And I mean, ethics are also like such a, I mean, they're not set in stone, right? It varies from couple to couple. It varies from person to person, even as to what ethics are important for them. Maybe for somebody, like they want to know every single detail of what is happening. But maybe somebody else actually does not want to know at all. Like, don't ask.
Yeah,
don't
some of
tell.
them have don't ask, don't tell policy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's valid too. So yeah, I think this is really cool what you're saying, that it is quite individualistic, but at the same time it's very rooted in communication, it's very rooted in intimacy, like you said, and it's very rooted in a lot of trust. And in fact, I think one of our audience member had also said, yeah, intimacy, trust plus communication. And I think
absolutely, and we have to understand that this is also a relationship. It's a form of relationship. So just like you would tackle any relationship, just because we are talking about an unconventional method of engaging in sexual or intimate contact, people start to think of it as, oh my God, it's like something out of this planet, and only this rare breed of people do it, or something like that happens. That kind of an idea builds up. But it's not that. It's just like any other form of relationship, and just like any relationship, no relationship has a rule book. Like only the two people involved know what's going on and what works for them. It's the same thing here as well. And I want to touch upon this very interesting concept here, where people sometimes wonder that how can you see your partner with someone else and be okay with it. And E&M is based on this beautiful concept of compersion. Compersion is it's an emotion that was discovered, like I think in 60s somewhere, and it's the opposite of jealousy.
Right.
Where when you see your partner happy, no matter how they are getting that happiness, it genuinely makes you happy. And people who engage in E&Ms in the right way have been found to be very high on compersion. And compersion, the best part is it can also be cultivated.
Yeah. And it's a skill, right? Like anything else, we are actually, I mean, when you're raised in this society, the way we're socialized is to be very possessive, is to be very insecure, is to be territorial, because it is very true that there is a scarcity of resources. So that kind of permeates into all aspects of your life. So if you are wanting to practice something like compersion, it's a skill that you're going to have to build, and it's not a prerequisite for wanting to practice ethical non-monogamy. And like you said, it's something that can be built over time. You can be a jealous person and still like try this out, right? And
all people in E&M experience jealousy. It's not that these people don't experience jealousy. The only difference between people in E&Ms and in regular relationships is how they deal with the jealousy. For them, jealousy is a way of coming together further, not a way of controlling your partner or trying to shut them down, or getting separated.
Yeah, I cannot, like, I'm so sorry, Zoya, we'll talk in Hindi some other time. Today we're going to have to talk in English because that's what we've prepped for. But like very interesting questions coming up. But before we take them, I really want you to maybe talk to us about like a couple of top terms when it comes to ethical non-monogamy, right? Like you hear of polyamory, you hear of polygamy. I recently came across something called, like, I met an Indian polycule, and I was quite fascinated, and that sort of thing. So what are the various ways in which one can practice E&M?
Yeah, it's very important to, I think, establish vocabulary. Otherwise, we'll just end up confusing everyone. So to start off, E&M is the major umbrella term, ethical non-monogamy, which basically means that you are practicing a form of relationship where you and or your partner is with multiple partners, and everybody is aware of whatever is happening. This is the major blanket term of E&M. Then you have, under E&M, you have like lots and lots of variations. So one being polyamory. Polyamory is the ability or the kind of relationship to have intimate relations with more than one partner. Now, this intimacy can be only emotional, it can be only sexual, it can be both, and it basically means that you can love more than one partner. Now, within polyamory comes hierarchical polyamory. Hierarchical polyamory is when you have a primary partner, with whom you know that, okay, this person has the highest hierarchy in my life, and all the other partners that come into the constellation afterwards are lower than the primary partner. So you know, both of you will have decided to spend your life together with each other, and you also date other people. This helps with a lot of confusion also, because it kind of creates that security blanket where you think that, okay, since we are primary partners to each other, there is no threat to the relationship. But it can also work in a negative way where the other partners who come in, who are not primary partners, may feel a bit threatened at times. Or then something like couples privilege comes in, where, you know, you might want to override the other partner's needs because you are primary partners. Then you have polyfidelity. Polyfidelity is a group of people staying together, dating each other, but not dating anyone outside this group. So let's say you have 4 people, 5 people, and you know they stay together, they date each other, but nobody sleeps around or has a relationship with anyone outside this group. Then you have open relationships. Open relationships are where you decide, 2 people who are already in a relationship, they decide to date other people, but there's a little difference. So for example, there might be 3 people in an E&M who date each other and no one else. So this is a throuple. This is not an open relationship, because you still have a boundary there. An open relationship by definition is something where the couple decides to open up, to have more, and usually it is done in a sexual sense, where you want to explore with other people, you want to date other people, but you want to stay together as a couple, and usually married couples would opt for open relationships. Then you have swinging and swapping, again, where a committed couple or a married couple would have occasional sex with another couple. So you may swing and swap, you may like exchange partners or same partners, and then, you know, be together. Then you have something known as a stag and vixen equation, where the man this is a form of open relationship where both date different people, again more sexual in nature. Both date different people. The wife would or the female partner will choose the guy she wants to date, but the male partner sort of you know, meets the person and then like kind of vets. So this is and again they do this in a very communicative manner, that, you know, if I don't want you to go with this guy, okay, can you tell me what is the problem? And then, you know, they come to a mutual discussion and all of that.
Not like, oh, I met this person. No, there is okay, no, but
what is the thing? And then both of them respect each other's rules and ground rules and things. And there is hot wifing, where only the wife dates other people and the husband is like cool with it. You have what else? You have casual sex then, where you just decide that, okay, you know what, we can sleep with other people. And then there is something known as monogamish. Monogamish is that you are in a monogamous relationship or a marriage, but it is understood that once in a while, usually when somebody is away for work, we will, you know, have a physical relationship with someone else, but most part we are monogamous. So this is monogamish.
Ooh, so, very cool.
These are major ones.
And there are also like a bunch of other terms, Prachi, like some of the terms that you spoke of may not necessarily apply to like queer folks, right? And like within the queer community, there are terms like relationship anarchy, or like you're by yourself, but you're poly, right? You're dating your
Solo
primary
poly.
yeah, solo poly. So your relationship is basically with yourself, primary relationship, and then you're seeing people. Someone actually commented saying how in polyamory there is like a prerequisite of like romantic interest. That's actually not true, because aromantic people can be polyamorous as well. Don't get confused by the word amory that within poly, right? The idea is that you're involved with multiple folks, whether you're aromantic or asexual does not matter. And you can still choose to identify as polyamorous.
You can absolutely have a polyamorous relationship with someone you just like to read books with.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100%. And also, like someone said, all these terms are so confusing. Absolutely agreed, right? So we're not really trying to give you an in-depth knowledge of what each of these terms would look like. We're just like sort of defining some of the terms that we would be using in our conversations going forward. But we will give you complete freedom to like reject any terms that are not resonating with you, right?
Yeah,
Even
no,
if
I actually, I'm so glad you said that. I really want to make a point here that while we are talking about labels and names, this is just for the purpose of understanding, or more often to explain to someone if you're trying to explain your equation, what you have. But you have to understand that it's not like a hard boundary. So it's not that if I identify as a solo poly, for example, I cannot get into polyamory later, or I cannot get into a V later where there are three people and then two people are dating each other and all of that. So there's no hard and fast rule. Like, and it's not. There are people who have had polyamorous phases and then gone on to monogamy when they found a partner which they wanted. So it's all fluid. It's very, very fluid. And these terms, if you're thinking about something like this, if you have been thinking about experimenting with something like this, you don't have to think that, oh, so which category do I fit in? Like, just go with it, and don't worry about the label that is coming with it. You will eventually anyway discover what works for you.
Right. And what these labels essentially do for you is just like help you connect with the community. So let's say you identify as polyam, then there will be a polyam community that you can access. And what it does for you is it validates the way you live your life. It helps you find resources. It helps you find safe spaces, safe people, and that sort of thing. But beyond, each individual person is allowed to determine what ethical non-monogamy looks like for them. The follow-up question is, in that case, what's the difference between polyamory and non-monogamy / open relationships? And Prachi, there was one more question about monogamish. I mean, it wasn't a question as much as it was a comment that monogamish relationships sound exactly like cheating. So do you want to take that up first, and then we can pick?
I'm glad someone brought that out, because that's not cheating if your partner knows about it. Okay, now we really must make a very important point here. When we say partner knows about it, it doesn't work where you just tell your partner, and I think someone made this point in the comments also earlier, where you just tell your partner that, you know what, you're not able to meet my needs, so I'm going to sleep with other people. And then your partner has to be okay with it because they don't want to lose you. This is not ethical non-monogamy. This is not E&M. This would require sitting down and or the partner themselves, coming up and talking about the fact that probably we have more needs than we are able to meet for each other, and what is the best way that we can explore this, or we can figure this out. It's not you can't emotionally blackmail your partner into getting into you think which is ethical, which it's not, because you can't say that, oh, I've told her or I've told him and then that's why it's ethical, but you haven't really taken their needs into consideration. You haven't taken that into consideration, that they might just be saying yes because they're afraid of losing you. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and monogamish is not cheating if your partner is aware, if this is a mutual decision. If it's a
Correct.
mutual decision that I like to play with different playmates. So you know what do you think? And oh, you know what, I also like it and I would love it if we could experiment once in a while. So all right, so this is what our ground rules are. When people set ground rules, they think about not including common friends, not including exes, not including certain strata of people that they interact with, or common friends and stuff like that, so that it doesn't get complicated. But
Right.
you set ground rules and then you say, all right, and then believe it or not, when these people are about to embark on, let's say, a night out with another person, they will actually text their partner and say that, you know what, today I'm going out with this person. And it's hard to believe, but they actually sit and have a really good time discussing it. Oh,
Yeah.
how did your date go and what happened? And oh, where are you going? Oh, this is amazing. Oh, you know what, why don't you try this? And why don't you? They actually have conversations like this, and it's
Right.
beautiful.
Right, right. And I love that you said conversations, because it's not just a one-time talk that you
Yes.
have with your, hey, this is how it's going to be. No, I mean, as evolved as you might be, feelings may still creep up, right? Your partner may
Yep.
have gone, you may have, I don't know, like in my case, I may have just gotten my periods, and like it's not feeling good, and I'm
Hmm.
wanting cuddles and I'm wanting affection, and partner is not there, and that could bring
Yeah,
a certain kind of feelings
that's a great point.
in the moment, and there has to be space for the partner to come back, and maybe like space to say that, hey, like this is how I felt today,
Hmm.
when you were gone, and yeah, like let's maybe have a conversation about how we can essentially
Absolutely. It is
put
going to be multiple conversations. That's why I was saying in the beginning that these relationships have more communication than regular relationships.
yeah. Someone says the whole
And
of cheating.
now,
Sorry, this is just like, this is a very interesting follow-up question, so we'll have to take it out.
yeah,
The
yeah.
whole cheating itself is so fulfilling. How should someone feel about it?
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, the question is the
The
whole
whole
thrill
thrill
of
of cheating
cheating
itself is so fulfilling.
is so
Okay, who's asking this?
1,000
Hmm.
tiger. Yeah, I mean, valid, right? Like,
So,
it's a
yeah,
rush.
very valid.
Yeah,
And
but
then you have to figure out why is cheating so thrilling?
yeah.
Because when cheating is thrilling, then there is a crack in the original relationship somewhere which you haven't discovered, or there is an issue with regulating impulses.
Hmm.
Because compulsion can still occur naturally. The desire to cheat doesn't occur naturally. Something has happened along the way to make you feel that I have to hide this, and it gives me wow, like it gives me a major kick.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so it has to be really explored that
See, Prachi, because like it's such a taboo in society. When in ethical non-monogamy, ENM, to chodo, the just like engaging, like befriending, being very close friends with another person while you're in a relationship, in itself is sort of like frowned upon, right? Like, of course, we're
hmm,
challenging norms, and we're changing those things by and by, but like very particular slice of society. The reality of the rest of the country is quite different. We live in our bubbles. So, I
yeah.
mean, the would also come from like, being this rebel, and like challenging those societal norms. Um, and I mean, if that's what's giving you a thrill, it's you can try to do it in a ethical way by playing with your partner, right? Like by role playing with your partner.
Yes,
You can
yes, role play with your partner, or just sometimes what happens. So I always say this that once an incident of cheating has occurred,
yeah,
then uh, there was something which was stopping these two from connecting with each other and saying, see, it's very natural to have attraction for other people,
of course,
and
yeah,
that is what we pathologize, and that is why so much infidelity happens.
correct, correct,
We say that, oh, you know what, once you've committed, now you can't be attracted to other people. It doesn't work that way. Everybody gets attracted to other people, and you should
correct.
be able to come and talk to your partner about it. But the way the societal fabric is, we can't sometimes, we can't talk to our partner about it, and then we do give in to temptation at times, and it tends to happen. That's that's explainable, I would say, because you want to you have needs, and those needs are either not
Yeah.
being met, or you're not able to communicate them, or
Yeah.
you're being shamed about it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I had a case where this guy was he would just like sexting, okay, and he so once his wife caught him, and then he had to hear this entire thing about how he's perverted and there must be something wrong with him, and this led him to actually not just sex but then eventually meet up with an escort, because the desire was there. And then if it could have been handled in another way, saying that, oh, you know what, tell me what excites you about this, and can we recreate this in our bedroom?
Yeah, because
Probably.
I mean, yeah. And like both of us agree, right? Like that cheating is fundamentally a violation. It's a violation
It
of a
is.
boundary that like two people have set as to how they will interact with other folks. So like in
Mm.
no way are we condoning cheating, but we're also say that like these emotions that come up, or like these feelings of attraction that one may experience towards other folks are normal. And like you said, I love that you said if we could approach it with curiosity and say, hey, what about excites you? Like let's explore it together. Not you don't have to involve another person to explore it. It could be, I
Yeah,
mean, like a video that the both of you watch, right, or whatever. Like it look
absolutely.
multiple different ways. Maybe a different location in the house will be excitement enough.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, kink has no range. It's like never ending. There is so much you can explore in kink.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it kink is not perversion. It's very different.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, quickly, Prachi, the last question that I would like for you to answer is the one on how is like if polyamory doesn't necessarily have a romantic connection, then
Mm.
how is that? How is it different from non-monogamy? Just like ethical non-monogamy, or how is it different from open relationships?
So, like I said, ethical non-monogamy is the major blanket term. It's
Hmm.
like saying trees,
Hmm.
and then oak and cedar and mango and peach.
Hmm.
So it's that. So it's not, polyamory is not different from ENM. It comes
Hmm.
under ENM.
Hmm. Hmm.
And right,
Yeah.
and the difference between polyamory and open relationships, like I said, again, these are just labels, and you really cannot, it's very hard to define them in strict boundaries. But the major difference is that polyamory
Hmm.
uh, can happen between non-committed couples also. So,
Hmm.
like there's one person, so there's like, let's say, three people. They're
Hmm.
dating each other. No two people are one couple.
Hmm.
But open relationships usually happen. There is one central couple, and then they open their relationship to include other partners. But they will continue to date or stay committed to each other. That's the primary difference.
Right. Damn cool. Cool. And like we said again and again, these are just terms. Feel free to like do your own thing, right? Like polyamorous, gammy.
Yeah.
What?
Hey, I
Feel
want to
free.
take this one. Yeah, this one asked by Siddharth, who's asking how to deal with societal criticism when being in such a relationship. It's a great
Yeah.
question. Uh,
Someone
so
is going.
how do you deal with societal criticism? I know it's like a very major pain point, and unfortunately, it's really hard for anyone to make it mainstream right now.
Hmm.
I think the way to deal with this is to have the judgment of where you can open yourself up, because it's not about, I get it that it's about being authentic to yourself, but it's also, we have to understand when we are communicating with other people, that who deserves to hear your story. Someone may just not have the bandwidth to even understand the emotions that you go through. Why would you want to invest energy down that black hole?
Yeah, just
And
the intelligence to like understand you, right? Yeah.
exactly, absolutely. So it's not about, if I have to be authentic, you can be authentic to yourself anywhere. You
Hmm.
don't need someone else to be able to understand what you're doing for you to be authentic. It has to be felt inside you that I am true to myself, and if I identify as a polyam, then I will not succumb to or get into traditional conventional relationships and then end up messing someone else up. That's being authentic to myself. But there is no I don't have a need to get validation from anyone else or to tell anyone else. I can have my own boundaries regarding that, because like I said, decide, judge who, or like just figure out who deserves to hear your story.
Yeah, actually, I think Prachi, we should definitely like have a longer conversation about navigating polyamorous relationships or just like ethical non-monogamous relationships in general. And I mean, this is just the beginning of the conversation, right? Like you and I hope to do very many episodes on this topic, and we have a bunch of like interesting things coming up for you, like how to transition from like being in a monogamous relationship to a polyamorous relationship, for instance. That's something that we'll be discussing in one of the coming episodes. But in the meanwhile, I love that y'all have been so enthusiastic with your questions. We'd love to like maybe have some of those in our DMs, and we can definitely pick them up in one of our future sessions.
Absolutely.
And Prachi, any final message for like our lovely folks for our late night?
I am so happy that to see that we're getting genuinely curious questions. When concepts like these are talked about, there's a very natural tendency to mock them, or to not try and even get curious about them. Forget about being positive about. So I love the fact that our audience today was like really genuinely curious, and we got some really nice comments also saying people were very interested. Somebody found it really interesting, and Thousand Tigers saying regulating impulses, finally going for Vipassana. Or there is a lot of other things that you can try, but if you want thrill, there are so many ways to get that. So don't stop chasing thrill. Just find alternative ways, right? And thank you guys. And we will be doing like Apurva said, that we'll be doing a series of these. So keep joining us and keep coming up with your questions.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So we meet every week, and we'll talk to you for a little under an hour about all things taboo. And for the next few weeks, it's looking like we're going to be discussing, like really deep diving into E&M. And we're going to be answering many questions and many themes that all of you touched upon. So yeah, Prachi, thank you so much for talking to me today, and I'll see you again next time.
See you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Good night.
Good night.